threat or trade. The final agreement of RCEP covers various issues that India had flagged. So it says that actually India has exited an organization which is known as RCEP. So it is an organization between various countries. Not it is an organization between 15 countries. So India has recently left that organization, but now there is an offer for India to join again because the RCEP again considered the issues which were flagged by India way before it left. Flagged means to identify or to mark. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership (RCEP) was signed into existence on Sunday by 15 countries led by China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and the 10-state Asian grouping, creating one of the world's largest trading blocs. So RCEP is a trading community between 15 countries in which India also used to be one, but now it's not a partner anymore. Noticeable by its absence was India, which after 7 years of protracted negotiations decided last November to exit the grouping. So India was actually a part of the RCEP for more than it was part of the group for more than 7 years. So recently this November, India has negotiated and had done many discussions and it decided to leave. India had justified its decision as protecting its economy from burgeoning trade deficits with a majority of the 15 RCEP members and had cited that the grouping's refusal to accede to its request on safeguard as a deal breaker. So India proposed some rules, not rules. It has proposed it has proposed some tasks to do for its country, India. Then in the total members of the RCEP is 15, right? So out of those 15, majority of the people did not accept India's tasks. So they did not implement those ideas in India. So because of that, India have left the group, or that may be the reason why India has left the group. Those reasons were on the face of it justifiable at that time and were welcomed by the industry, trade and farmers groups. So the tasks which India took up to propose to the RCEP members, the reasons for those acts were agreed by all the members in India. When I say members, I mean the people like farmers, industries, trade and traders and etc. However, 12 months down the road, India's opting out appears far more debatable in terms of its economic rationale. So, what India actually told before it left the group in November, it all now seems actually impractical, as the group said. With the global trade and the economy foundering on the shoals of the COVID-19 pandemic, especially as new infections in Europe and the US prompt fresh restrictions there, the preeminence of the East Asian and the Pacific countries, including China, South Korea, Vietnam, Australia, and New Zealand, serving as a bulwark in containing the pandemic and re-energizing economic activity, can hardly be understated. So this point is very important. So at the last they said it can hardly be understated, means it should not be understated, and this point is very important and it can easily be noticed. So what is happening is that just before I told you that India's ideas which it proposed to the members of the RCEP, all of them are not actually practical, which India just knew now. So India just knew now, and also many COVID-19 cases in the countries of US and UK have been rising. So if someone wants to stop this, only the countries which lie near the Pacific Ocean, and the East Asian countries, like China, South Korea, Vietnam, Australia, and New Zealand. So all of these countries, they should serve as a bulwark bulwark means a defensive wall against something. So here they said that it should serve as a bulwark again, in containing the in containing the virus. So it says that we should take further precautions so that the virus does not come outside of these countries, outside of this East Asian countries. Add to this the heightened tariff uncertainty generated by the deadlocked Brexit negotiations between Britain and the EU, and it becomes evident that India may have missed a vital opportunity. So recently there have been some negotiations or discussions between between the countries of Europe and and Britain. So in this discussion, it is very clear that India has missed this opportunity to get in again, to get into the RCP again. Given that the RCP members now account for about 30% of the global GDP and a third of the world's population, the signatory states were emphatic that the timing of the Accord presents a unique opportunity to support their economic recovery, inclusive development, and job creation, even as it helps strengthen regional supply chains. So, I said you that there were 15 countries which form the RCEP. So, in these 15 countries, they occupy one third of the world's population and they account for, or they have 30% of the world's GDP. So now for these some of the countries in there, they have an unique opportunity to recover their economy like never before. Interestingly, among the Asian signatories are several relatively far smaller economies, including Vietnam and the Philippines, which not only continue to which are not only continue to have their share of disputes with Beijing, but also suffer significant trade imbalances with Asia's largest economy. So there are some countries, actually most countries in RCEP are actually small countries, and their economy and their standards won't be that high as the countries like US. So they had many disputes with Beijing, and unfortunately they did not even they won very less. They won very less. They won very less of the debates. So it is so they suffered so much. And because of that they got even bigger problems in their economies. That these and other larger nations in the grouping have chosen to bury their geopolitical differences with China in order to prioritize what they collectively see as a mutual beneficial trading compact that would benefit their economies over the longer term is the clearest statement to economic realism trumping nationalist politics. So, as I said, the countries like Vietnam and the Philippines and those countries, all of them they had to compromise against the Beijing. So because they should not be kind of selfish. So if they want the RCP to see about their problems specifically, that wouldn't be as a group, right? So because of that, all of them had to compromise before China, and they should see what and they should see the discussion as a mutual benefit, as a mutual benefit. It should be benefit for everyone. Also, the summary of the final agreement shows that the pact does cover an attempt to address issues that India had flagged, including the rules of origin, trade in services, movement of persons, and crucially remedies and safeguards. So, as this whole article says, what it says is that India had flagged some issues in the RCP while it was in the RCP, and those issues were not taken seriously by the members of the RCP or 15 countries. So, India left in November. After that, these countries again took up India's flaggings, and they told that yes, you were right. We surely have to implement this. So those implementations include some safety protocols and etc. Acknowledging India's economy heft and value as a market, the RCP members have not only left the door open should New Delhi reconsider its stance, but have also waived a key 18-month cooling period for interested applicants. It would be in India's interest to disappointedly review its position and embrace openness rather than protectionism. So, yeah, as I said, the all 15 countries of the RCP again, all of them again considered the flaggings of India, and they have opened an opportunity for India to rejoin them again. So, should India join them again, or should it just let it go? And should it and should it prefer protectionism rather than going into the group discussion? Thank you.